Hey there, and welcome. So let me ask you something. When you hear the words PhD in English literature, what's the first thing that comes to mind? I'm guessing it's a professor, right? Maybe someone surrounded by stacks of dusty books in a really quiet office. But what if I told you that same degree could be a launchpad into, say, the media industry, or tech, or even government? Today, we're going to tear down those old stereotypes and really get into the surprising power of an English PhD.
Yeah, this is the big one, isn't it? The classic assumption that getting this degree means you're on a one-way street straight to a life in academia. It's the stereotype we see in movies, it's what we hear all the time. But trust me, as we're about to find out, that whole idea is seriously overdue for a rewrite.
Okay, so this slide just nails it. It's the heart of what we're talking about today. On one side, you've got the popular belief. It's this single, super narrow path that only leads to a classroom. But the reality? It's more like a door swinging wide open to a world of possibilities. So come on, let's step through that door and see what's really out there.
All right, so here's the plan for today. We're going to start by asking, what does this degree really mean? Then we'll dive into the world of careers way beyond the classroom. After that, we'll look at the actual skills you walk away with. And finally, we're going to tackle that big million-dollar question, is it actually worth it?
Okay, let's get right to it. What is this degree really all about? Because here's a little spoiler for you, it's not just about getting through a mountain of books. Nope. At its core, it's about learning how to think in a totally new and powerful way.
So you can think of an English PhD as this really intense training program. And its main goal? It's not to turn you into a walking encyclopedia of classic literature. The real goal is to shape you into a super skilled researcher and a seriously sharp critical thinker, someone who can look at pretty much any subject and analyze it from all these different angles.
And this really breaks down how that happens. You could almost think of it like an intellectual assembly line. It all kicks off with independent research. Learning how to dig really deep into a topic. That then feeds into critical analysis, which is where you learn to take arguments apart and spot all the hidden patterns. And the final product? The ability to create and present totally new, original ideas. See? It's the whole package.
All right, now for the part I'm sure you've been waiting for. How does all of this training, actually translate to the real world? Let's dive into some of the amazing career paths that open up once you step outside the classroom. And I have a feeling you're going to be surprised at just how valuable these skills truly are.
So first up, let's talk about writing and editing. It's such a natural fit, right? Think about what a really great editor does. They analyze a piece of writing, they figure out what's working and what isn't, and they help make the core argument stronger. Well, guess what? That is exactly what a PhD researcher's trained to do, day in and day out. That's why they're perfect for jobs like senior editor, content strategist, or even a literary consultant. Okay, what about the media industry? Think about it. A killer movie script, a marketing campaign that goes viral, a podcast you just can't stop listening to. What's the one thing they all share? A powerful story. And English PhDs, they're basically trained masters of narrative. They spend years living and breathing character development, plot structure, and theme. And those are the absolute building blocks for any great scriptwriter or communication strategist.
Now here's a curveball for you, one you might not have seen coming. Government and the public sector. Seriously, those deep research skills are pure gold for jobs like an archivist, someone who preserves our cultural history, or a museum curator, telling incredible stories through objects. You could even be a policy researcher who gets to analyze really complex issues through a human-focused lens. So, look, it's pretty clear, right? The path isn't some straight, narrow line. It branches out a lot. Of course, the traditional academic route is still there, but running right alongside it is this huge, diverse landscape of careers in industry and the public sector. The world, it turns out, is just so much bigger than the classroom.
But wait a second. What is it that actually makes someone with a literature PhD qualified for all these different gigs? Well, it all comes down to the incredible skills they pick up along the way. Think of it as a professional toolkit. Let's open it up and see what's inside. And let me be clear, this isn't just some list of vague soft skills. This is a toolkit of actual superpowers. We're talking about developing elite-level critical thinking to crack tough problems, mastering advanced research skills to find the signal in all the noise, becoming an amazing writer who can get a point across with total clarity, and maybe most importantly, learning how to take super complex ideas and break them down into simple, powerful explanations.
And you really shouldn't underestimate the power of that toolkit. I mean, in any industry you can think of, from tech to finance, the ability to think critically, research deeply, and communicate clearly is just massively in demand. To put it bluntly, these skills are absolute hotcakes in today's market.
So all of this brings us to the final, and maybe the most important question of all. After all those years, all that hard work, is getting a PhD in English actually worth it? The truth is there's no easy yes or no here. It's complicated. So let's try to find a balanced answer.
You can kind of see it like a set of scales, right? It's a trade-off. On one side, you've got this incredible intellectual journey that will honestly change the way you see the world. The personal growth is just huge. But on the other side of the scale, you got to be realistic. The traditional academic job market, it's tough. It's super competitive. So at the end of the day, it's a personal call. It's about weighing those amazing intellectual rewards against some very real career challenges.
So, I want to leave you with one final thought to chew on. A PhD in literature basically gives you two amazing things: the power of deep critical analysis and a mastery of creative storytelling. Now, just imagine, when you put those two things together, what kind of new stories can you create? In media, in business, in culture, pretty much anywhere. Now, that is a question worth thinking about.